We are nothing if not prompt. I'm here with Texas Homer. We got Coach. Guys, we got a game. First game under our belts.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that our very own Eric Nahlin called it. We now have a quarterback controversy. The greatest quarterback of all time is sitting on the bench. And what are we doing? Why are we even in this game? Yep. Coach, I would love to know, just top of the head, first instinct, what is your call on this? What did you see? What are you feeling? What are you thinking?
I saw execution. I mean, for the first game, you work out kinks, right? You're trying to just work through things, see what you're good at, see what you need to improve on. And I thought that we did a great job, especially on defense. Like, rallying to the football, like swarming to the football, that's encouraging. Because there's no substitute, or you can't teach hustle and heart, and the defense had that all game. Really wrong, and so even the defensive backs making plays on the football.
Right? Yeah, I think that was one of the things that Sark was talking about. He was totally okay for some missed tackles, so long as there was some swarming, right? And I think that's exactly what we got today. And I was really happy to see that everybody was on the ball. It seemed like team defense was just something that we've been preaching for a very long time. I mean, first looks for me are a little bit difficult. I'm not as sophisticated as you guys to immediately notice things, but I have to say that those guys, especially in an air raid, quick pass offense, did not have a lot of windows. They really shut that down. It was not a lot of options for Nicolosi, who's a very competent quarterback. I think the score is not going to reflect how good this kid is. And again, I don't think he's an NFL quarterback, but he's a highly competent college quarterback that understands this offense and generally executes it very well. I think the other thing to note here is that as Paul was talking about in the lead up to this, all of this was the middle of the field and Horton just exploiting that. And that really wasn't there today. And I wonder if that wasn't a result of now having Anthony Hill more in a middle linebacker position with such athleticism and the ability to cover that area. But overall, I think I agree with you, Coach. I think team defense was, at least in my mind as well, one of the highlights of today. Yeah, how you holding up there, Eric? You still outside? Did you go inside at all to watch this game?
Yeah, I felt bad. My wife went in there, made us some chicken wings, and I'm out here. I've got 2 TVs out here, so I have one on a quick delay, so I can watch the play. I can watch every play twice.
Right.
But then I saw her sitting in there, and I started thinking, it's a holiday weekend. I might need a little more attention later in the weekend. So
fair enough. You're playing the long one. I get it.
Yeah. No. So you guys are talking about defense. Like everybody loves the offense. It drives me crazy on Inside Texas and pretty much the internet, wherever. It's human nature, I guess, to focus on offense. It's like everything is offense. So like they were measuring the whole game based on Hayden Connor having a couple missed blocks or Quinn Ewers interception. Dude, the defense was balling out from start to finish. I'm a defensive guy. Ronnie Lott's jersey, he's hanging on an autographed jersey. He's not far from me right now. I love what I saw. I get hyped about that. Defense travels. Defense is going to keep you in every game when your offense might struggle. I loved everything I saw about it. The secondary. The first game, we always want to check our reporting. That's the most stressful thing for me. Like, did we report some bull or were we accurate? And I love what we saw from the secondary. Vernon Broughton had a good game. Yeah. The linebackers were balling. Everything I saw got me really excited. And then the offense came around. There's so much more to talk about. I could talk here for a half hour by myself, but that was pretty much everything I wanted to see in the opener.
I think that the exciting thing too, just in terms of, again, sticking with this theme, Eric, of playing the long con, like we did not show much at all in this game. It was outside of, in terms of scheme. I thought in terms of actual like team defense, it was phenomenal. Just getting to the ball, being really aggressive as a team on that. But I didn't see that many wrinkles just in terms of the defense that we had to show. And it was still a dominating performance. And if you can do that out of your base, I think you're setting yourself up pretty well.
Yeah, they showed a couple ththings late in the game. I was surprised they had a 3-man front late when they had a bunch of walk-ons in. I think that was something we might see. They did run a little bit of dime. Janae Barron was that linebacker for a snap or two. They're going to mix it up on offense. Did they take a single deep shot, like a true deep shot, vertical? I don't think so, because normally they set that up with a run. There's a lot of consternation on the internet about the lack of run game. There, like we talked about in the pregame, there's no need for them to run these running backs into the ground. Not only do you not want to expose them to an injury, you also have to think about, hey man, they want to be playing football in January. They've got 3 real running backs. Velton Gardner doesn't count. It's about the wear and tear, is not just the individual injury. So loved everything I saw. There was, of course, some miscues, some things to iron out. As far as openers go, that's the best one we have seen in a very long time.
Oh, absolutely. And I know we will get to stats a little bit later here. Homer's going to help us with that. But I mean, just to answer your question, Eric, I mean, Fowler Nicolosi left that game with, it looks like 59 yards.
Yeah.
which is just insane when you consider
that's an air raid. That's a good air raid quarterback. I mean, they'll do all right in the Mountain West. So I mean, we went strength on strength against them, and that, especially after last year, man, that was really awesome.
Look at how they couldn't find their secondary or third wide receivers, and how many Texas players caught a pass today? I think at least 10. I think they had 10 in the first half, I believe. So
just 11 total receivers.
Okay, dominating performance.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at the first in the first half. One of the things to note about the receivers too is we didn't have a single receiver there for a massive majority of the first half that didn't have under 10 yards. In some of them only had 1 reception. I mean, that to me is phenomenal. Not only the distribution, but obviously the depth we're getting in these plays. That's great. It's we are Texas fans, so we're not always sunshine and happiness and rainbows. But this is definitely something to feel good about.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of that, we got some dudes, man, who just make plays after the catch. Like, that's what you want. Like a lot of great teams, you take the 5-yard hitches and turn it into 20-yard, 25-yard gains. We saw Jonte Cook late in the game making a play like that. I thought it was huge. It just speaks to the level of talent that we had. And one thing I'll point out before the game, I saw communication. The very first snap on defense, they were out there talking, communicating. You got this guy, you got this guy. Like, I love it, man. I'm a defensive guy too, so seeing that type of stuff, man, it makes me happy, man. All the way to the soul.
So what are we seeing here, Homer? You're walking us through some of this. I mean, what are some of the things that immediately stick out?
Well, this is just Texas receiving here as you guys are talking about it. So 11 receivers went for 355 yards, only with the longest of 40. So nothing crazy, but you see the 259 yards after catch.
There we go.
Yeah. That's the dog.
So that's really good. And then Quinn's no-look pass.
Dude, that thing.
Oh, man.
That thing was nuts. And we have Landon on our staff that picked that up and immediately posted it. But I mean, I got to tell you, that was so good. It took me 2 or 3 watches just on the replay to pick it up. I mean, that was just nasty.
It was like it was teleported there. I'm still not sure I actually saw it. I'm just going off your guys' word that it actually happened.
Well, it's tricky for Golden too, because if Golden's not paying total attention there, he's thinking he's not getting the ball. So the worst thing is Quinn makes that awesome thing and it hits you right in your chest.
That other touchdown to Golden was crazy too because of the angle.
Yeah, that was an incredible throw.
He just kind of dropped it in there. The guy, the defender's arm was right there, and I don't know, man. That might pretend some foreshadowing between those guys having some telepathy or something.
Yeah, he worked really well with the transfers. That's always your fear, I thought he looked awesome with them.
Those wide receivers were hit a lot of times in stride, and so that's a lot of forward momentum. They're spinning out of tackles. They're running through tackles. Yep. There's just a lot of athleticism.
Even the one that Quinn overthrew on Bond and that safety hit it loose, I was still impressed with Bond climbing the ladder like that and contorting himself.
Yeah. I looked at that one twice. It looked like the defender was kind of in front of Quinn. He had to elevate the ball probably a little bit more than he wanted to. He probably would have wanted to put it on a line. Yeah. Bond went up and elevated. It would have been a catch, except for defender made a good play. Just tough catch to make. How many incompletions were there? I can't see that. I mean, I'm not sure anybody can see that, but
8.
I mean,
Blue had 2 drops. And uncharacteristically, Blue had 2 drops. Quinn had, I think, 1 or 2, like just what we'd say is a poor throw, and the rest of it were just right on.
Yeah, so Quinn went 20 for 27.
Yeah, 260 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, his completion percentage is 74%. I mean, it's there's not much more you could really ask for a start, to be honest with you. And obviously that interception was unfortunately something he's known for, just a tip at the line of scrimmage. But other than that, really solid, competent performance. And it's weird, you say the word competency as if it's some sort of like given, but it really isn't. I mean, to be able to stay and maintain and just be efficient and frankly, just necessary, do the things that are necessary is unfortunately lacking. And to be able to execute that at the level that he did today was very impressive to me. And again, and you throw in that ridiculous no look pass. Quinn, Quinn is definitely announcing himself as certainly a player this year. I think that's
a lot of people are asking about Jaden Blue. The same in our game thread. Guys, he fell on the ball or something that was not an injury. He fell basically in the most innocent way possible and just rolled him off the field. There's nothing to worry about with Blue. He's fine.
That's good. Okay. Well, and you can appreciate the sensitivity there, Eric, given that room. I think everybody's a little bit on eggshells.
No, I saw him fall. I'm like, there's nothing wrong. And the board's like, oh no, they're freaking out. I'm like, no, guys, settle down. Nothing happened. People hit the turf in football. In fact, you're not down until you hit the turf.
I agree.
I thought Jarek looked good too, man. When he came in, he was running hard. I was impressed, man.
I think the first couple carries, he was looking to bounce it a little too much. I guarantee he got an earful, and then he started going north and south a lot more. The comp that we've been having for him from a source at Texas was Frank Gore. Not saying he's going to run for the third most all-time yards in the history of the sport, but he just has that same sort of body type and style between the tackles, powerful, kind of nifty feet, and just kind of, sometimes he's plotting and still getting 3 or 4 yards. It's crazy.
Yeah. And like that play on the goal line wherever he got stalemated and then Helm noticed it. That was awesome too. It showed our team how aware they were.
Yeah, I think Cam Williams got in there. I think Cam Williams just kind of got in there and said this is happening now. So he runs more. A lot of people say he looks better than TJ Baxter. He's not a more talented running back, but a lot of it has to do with how ready you are when you get to college. And he's more ready, but we knew that. Not a better overall talent necessarily. But more prepared. That's part of the evaluation. It doesn't mean he had more upside or anything like that, but more prepared, and he looked good. But he's also got a lot of reps. Since those injuries happened earlier in camp, he's had a lot of time to get prepared.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Juan is somebody we've certainly talked about as a potential leader in that position group. I mean, what were your thoughts there, Coach? Because I mean, I thought Juan had himself a game.
Yeah, I thought Juan had a good game, and they used him in multiple ways and a lot of motion, man. Leaking out to the flats. Oh, he's coming back, slamming back, blocking out on defensive end and leading up. Like, I thought Juan had a great game and all the great things that if you've been reading Inside Texas, you hear about Juan. He's been having a great camp. And Juan definitely looked good. I thought him and Gunn looked good, man. Saw Big Gunner after the catch. The run after the catch was huge. But, yeah, Juan definitely looked good. And I'm sure his role will even expand even more. I'm sure they'll find a way to get the balls out in the flats and in the flat, and being a lead block, especially on the perimeter. We like to run screens and things like that. You can see him kind of motion out and then go out and kick out the corner. He'd be your lead blocker, so he can do a lot of great things. So I like Juan a lot, man. I think he's going to be a baller this year for Texas.
When you're looking at this and this game, Homer, because I know you do a very good job of breaking these things down. What were some of the things that just immediately top of head popped out? You're like, oh wow, I'm really, really happy to see this.
Red zone.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, that's a really good call.
That team was one of the worst in the country last year. And I mean, you can win a national championship if we were just like middle in the 60s. We just shot ourselves in the foot. Red zone attempts, 7 for 7, 49 points in the red zone. 3 out of 4 were touchdowns. Third downs, we went 6 to 12, a little sketchy there, but that's what I love, man. It was the red zones. You have to be able to finish. And we didn't go too crazy either. We didn't have to break out a bunch of cute stuff. I mean, we were just executing core concepts. That was the biggest part, 100%. Our red zone scoring is exactly what I wanted to see because that's what held us back last year, and that was awesome. So, yeah, first things first, it was that. And then I thought once we got warmed up to our wide receivers looked great. To have that level of depth, I don't even know what coaching wise. I don't even know what you actually do with like 6 receivers you can really use. I don't even know how you.
Yeah, I mean that's the
actually
thing.
Do that.
You got to feed those guys. I mean that's an insane room. Yeah, I totally agree with you. That was one of the.
Everybody's asking. This guy, Mike Moran, he's asking, who do you start?
Yeah.
Do you start? But I mean, they all look good. So how do you say who do you start Wingo over? I mean, he looked great, but who's to say that Bond wouldn't look great going against that same defense at that stage in the game too?
Yeah.
They're all great, but we know Wingo has the most upside of anybody in that room. If he keeps playing like that, he'll just keep playing more. But I've never seen Texas have that many guys where, earlier in, as it got later in the game, people are like, oh, put in so-and-so. I'm like, that's an NFL player too. And that's an NFL player.
Yeah.
And, they have third stringers out there that are going to get drafted. And like, oh, let's get him out so he doesn't get hurt. I'm saying that about guys that are on the third string. And it's like, you have to play these guys at some point.
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy.
Well, it's also, as you pointed out, it's the difficult task there is just keeping these guys in one sense happy, right? Because you do have so much talent. You do have the transfer portal. You do have these other options. But to me, this is, and frankly, before our running back room was depleted, I would have said the same thing about the running back room. Like when you are so deep in a position group, the starting position really doesn't matter nearly as much because of the amount of reps that these kids are going to have at their disposal if they're played well and at that point. So yeah, I think it's a different thing for sure. But again, this question with Mike, I mean, it's not like Wingo couldn't be a starter. We talked about this in the pregame. Wingo could probably start at most programs in the country. So what do you do here in this situation? So, Coach, you're in this position. You've been in this position, at UNLV. You've been around the game long enough. What do? You've got so much depth at one position. How do you distribute that?
Yeah, I mean, you can go with the same three guys you wrote out there today. That's on the starting depth chart, or you can mix and match and do it what you please. I feel like if you got a level of 6 guys who you feel like can start, you just find the one you feel like is going to be most confident on the road, right? Going into what you may be considered a hostile environment in Michigan, right? You may go upperclassmen just to kind of so they can get a feel for the game, or if you feel confident in playing a freshman and Ryan Wingo, putting him out there as a freshman in Michigan, then you throw him out there. It's all about the level of confidence from the coaches. Whatever the receiver coach Chris Jackson says, he feels confident with those 3, or whatever the case, that's who they're going to roll with. I mean, but you can't go wrong with anybody you pick, honestly.
So one thing to consider is Michigan has the best cornerback in the country, and Isaiah Bond is a lot more battle tested going up against good corners than Ryan Wingo.
Yeah.
But if let's say Will Johnson starts bodying Isaiah Bond, then you know what to do. Then you put out the Ryan Wingo and give him a shot. No, there's no point in making hasty decisions. You don't just start benching guys because one guy played good. You bench guys when the starter plays poorly. Or if it's just indisputable. You don't want to hurt your wide receiver's confidence. There's no reason to bench any of these guys. Wingo looked really good. He looked like we thought he would look. The amount of skill is crazy. What's up, Ian?
Guys, I think we do have Ian here, so let's just get him off the screen as quick as possible. I'm just going to say, guys, you probably need a fiduciary financial advisor, and I've got the guy for you. His name is David McClellan with Forum Financial. He works broadly and deeply with his clients as a financial life coach, and he should know something about coaching because he won several national championships as a swimmer for the University of Texas. He specializes in financial planning and has contributed numerous articles to Kipling on the topic of retirement tax bombs. So contact David today to be your fiduciary financial planner and schedule a 1-hour consultation to assess your financial situations. The free consultation is available, so just give him a call. The number is 312-933-8823. That's 312-933-8823. His email is also in the description below. Oh, hey guys, Ian's here. Hey Ian, good to see you. Did you get all, you've got like 12 articles that need to go on the website. Were you able to get all those done before you hopped on here?
Just 7 of them.
Oh, no, I have pretty good average.
5 quick thoughts are up. My 5 quickest thoughts to date, perhaps. There was that game pretty much checked every box, right?
Yeah.
That's everything you wanted to see, you saw. Quinn.
Yeah.
Quinn had that awful interception early, but then he was great after that. Arch got in and made some exciting plays. It sounded electric from the TV when he was in the game. I imagine it was pretty wild. All the young players made exciting plays. Everything looked smooth. The defense was completely dominant.
Yeah.
The Colorado State passing game that everybody knew was the thing to worry about was completely and utterly dominated. I don't. The numbers were like 3.3 yards per attempt for their starting quarterback.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously, they didn't score any points. Torrey Horton was targeted 10 times, had 5 catches for 31 yards. So that's 3 yards per target. A good number would be like 10.
Yeah.
Anything below 8 or 9 is really not very good. 3 is just destroyed. Yeah, crushed. Totally crushed it.
We are here to answer all your questions. If you have anything, go ahead and throw them in the chat. Obviously, if you have a super chat and you want us to look at that, go ahead and let us know. I love, you know what? I'm going to give Mike some props here. That's not the way it works, but I really appreciate you doing that. It's a solid move. I respect it. I 100% respect it.
It's the thought that counts.
It's 100%. So what are our thoughts? Let's go into this, Eric. I mean, we obviously we cater to a certain type of audience, an audience that loves recruiting. So as a result of that, they are interested in the new people on campus. What are our thoughts initially? This is for everybody. I see you nodding a little bit there, Coach. So please feel free to jump in if you want. But what are our thoughts on Colin? You got some reps in there.
Yeah, he was out there fairly early. I didn't really see him do anything. He was moving around well. You could see that he was active. He's pushing the tackle back. I think they dropped him in coverage a time or two, and he looked okay as well. I didn't see him do a whole lot. He didn't make any wild plays or anything, but he looked comfortable out there and moves well. And it was fun to see them dropping him because we know that they like to do that. He fills all the needs of that position. That position just in general had a quiet game. We didn't hear much from Trey Moore either.
Right. Yeah.
Is that a result of us? One, that particular offense just gets rid of the ball really quickly, and then two, it was just such a swarming defense. I mean, what do you attribute the quietness?
You saw more pressure up the middle, which is going to be the quickest path of the quarterback is up the gut. We saw a decent amount of pressure there. Getting the ball out quick. There was they had a couple sack opportunities earlier in the game. They didn't quite convert, but they weren't hurt by it. Just getting the ball out quick. They knew that they weren't going to be able to hold up, and they do have a pretty decent O-line matched to that offense. They had a huge drop off in sacks from 2022 to 2023. So they know that they had to protect the quarterback. A guy like Carson Beck, you might see Texas have more sack numbers against a much better Georgia team than UTSA just by the nature of the offense.
What is the what are our thoughts on this, Ian? I mean, when we talk about the O-line, again, this is a very veteran group. This is a seasoned group. I think it's we're dealing with an incredibly small sample size, obviously, with this group, but what were your thoughts on the O-line, certainly in the first half?
They had a couple moments that were, shaky is too strong. Like they had like a tackle for loss where it looked like somebody got blown up.
Connor.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
I think a lot of people, when I had this on the game thread, I don't want to interrupt you, but I've got to get this off my chest. It's like the first thing I want to talk about. People are saying the whole O-line had a shaky game. They're attributing, Jake Majors had 2 snap infractions, and Connor got blown up a couple times. And there's 4 other people on each of those plays that did their job. So You can't just say the whole O-line. You have to actually specify what the breakdown was. I think the O-line played well. Another thing that highlights the fact that the O-line might have struggled, which they didn't, is that they didn't make an effort to run the ball because of what we talked about earlier. They shouldn't be trying to ground and pound teams right now to limit contact on their running back. So to say the O-line struggled is wrong, but there was a couple of offensive linemen that had some shaky snaps for sure.
They brought in Hudson for Connor there for a minute on a drive or two, and I actually don't know. I didn't track very well who played from there, but I know Connor got back into the game at center later, and then there were some issues there as well. But what was their conversion rate in the red zone? What was their conversion rate on 3rd and 4th down? On 3rd down, they were 6 of 12, 2 of 3 on 4th down, 7 of 7 in the red zone. Those are the marks of a pretty clean game.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
It wasn't Oklahoma.
Well, all right. Look, there was a lot of discussion in the pregame, Ian, about thoughts on Oklahoma. This is a good opportunity. We have you here now. Did you get a chance? Go ahead.
Speaking of Oklahoma, this ties into Oklahoma because Texas pilfered the Oklahoma commit Vosick from them. Colton
from their own backyard. I get that. From our backyard.
They tried to. Yeah, it's like Raising Arizona trying to sneak him right out from underneath everybody's nose.
Such a great film.
What a pull.
Fantastic movie. He's not just massive. He has the most. I think he has, and I want to see more from Colin, but I might be a little hyperbolic here. He might have the most upside out of any edge in the program. Size, athleticism, all those things. He's just got, he's got a rough. He's got a deep room ahead of him with Barron and then Ethan Burke, his high school teammate, in front of him. But he is going to be really, really good. Yeah. Colin might have more upside, but I think Vosick has an extremely high floor, potential first, second round draft pick long term.
So again, I think that's I don't know how. I think again, this is just one of those things we're talking about depth, right? Like we've got a guy with the caliber of Vosick, and he's again not one of the first guys that's going to hit the field. I think this is a new era for Texas. I think that one that we might be, all of us being of a certain vintage are familiar with what those times used to be like, but there's certainly some younger folks that this is Texas having depth, but not only like depth, but like quality starting depth is dangerous. And I think it's a really fun place for us to be. Ian, we were just talking about OU, obviously they're a dominant team. They're not going to lose any games this year. You might have a slightly different opinion on that, but what were your thoughts on the Oklahoma game?
It was kind of bad for them. They were like 1 of 12 on third down. Their quarterback Jackson Arnold had like 5 yards per pass attempt. They couldn't run the ball. We're just zooming in on Elsie's reaction here.
I guess I don't know. It was a solid reaction shot. Some Cohen brothers.
I was trying to go just to Ian. Like in theater where they have their thoughts and they go to the corner of the play and the corner of the stage. And
are you talking about a soliloquy?
Yeah. And the lights just shine right on him. That's what I was going for.
Okay. Feel free to monologize here, Ian. Go for it.
It was a really shaky game for them. They did have they were missing a couple wide receivers going in. One of their guys that was going to be a starting wide receiver for them was injured during the game. Their center was injured during the game. Our friends at Sooner Scoop say high ankle sprain. So probably a couple weeks on that. Their backup, their tackle that they had to play for Michigan State was just a horrifying mess. It looks like, you don't want to impugn anybody, but it kind of looked like that guy got his NIL bag and is like done.
Oh,
that's
what his level of play.
That's what his level of play.
I don't want to impugn anybody, and it's like prefacing something with all due respect.
He's playing as though he has lost motivation for greatness.
Fair enough. Okay. All right. Wow. I'm really happy I asked that question.
Well, anyway, they will not be as bad as they looked.
Okay.
If you watched the game, they looked bad. If you saw the score, it looks fine. They smoked Temple. If you watch the game, you're like, this team is not very good. They will get better. Texas will not face that team in the Red River Shootout.
So let's talk a little bit about. I mean, we all talked about the defense at the beginning, how happy we were with it. Coach, what were your thoughts just in general about the D? And I know this might be reiterating some, but we've got some folks that are joining us a little bit later. This was a defensive game. Obviously, you look at the scoreboard. Great. We put up some points. That's wonderful. But I think the thing that's getting discounted here is this is not a bad offense we went against. I mean, this is a very decent offense with a NFL caliber wide receiver. I think this was a really great defensive performance.
Yeah, overall, I really think it was. And I know the question before this was, why didn't we have any sacks, any concerns? I didn't see any concerns, and that we put pressure on the quarterback on the deep pass interception to Jahdae Barron. It was a throw off his back foot because he was getting pressure. And I feel like they kind of gave up on that. Tried a bunch of perimeter screens, trying to get rid of the ball quickly, and then kind of conceded, like, hey, we're just going to run the ball, try to run the ball here because we don't feel like we can really have time to throw the ball. So if you get the right the right kind of pressure, really, like you can really affect the quarterback. So sometimes it's not about sacks and getting to the quarterback, especially when they're getting rid of the ball so quickly or trying to. But I think we put enough pressure on QB to really, really affect him and have him rattled early on. I think they got out their game plan early on. So pressure bust pipes, and I think we did that. So I'm not concerned about it. I'm not concerned about the run D whatsoever. I mean, run defense whatsoever either. We're hitting that guy. I mean, how many yards they finish? Under 100 yards rushing, 80 yards on maybe 20-something carries, maybe 25 carries. Not really concerned about the run defense whatsoever. Everybody's flying to the ball, and then we got some garbage yards at the end when third and fourth string ran. So
yeah, they broke 100 at the end.
At the end, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I thought that they did crease Texas a couple times in the zone game, but they never got that much out of it. Watching live, it was not clear to me what the breakdown was that caused it up front. Some of it was against too high looks.
Yeah.
I did notice that.
How many passing yards did they have?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, so there's always going to be an interplay between. We saw that last year where they gave up no rushing yards. It's when they were going to give up passing yards. They gave up too many passing yards last year, but they gave up the most attempts in the country. So there's an interplay there. You know, the reason that there was a little bit of running room, I guess, is because they absolutely shut down the passing game.
Completely.
They also, when they wanted to, they dropped Taft or McDonald or somebody into the box.
Yeah.
And when they did that, there was nothing, no daylight. So,
yeah.
How did we feel about, oh, sorry, you have this here. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, this ties into what we were just talking about, the run game. Is the IDL actually good? This is similar to what we're talking about with the offensive line. There's going to be some mishaps here and there, but you can't just say, it's not fair to just say the DL is looking poorly. It could be that the second string is in or the third string, or it could be one individual defensive lineman that got worked like Hayden Connor did on a couple. It's not fair to say the offensive line struggled when it was just a couple guys on a couple individual plays. I do think the interior defensive line is going to be good this season in aggregate. There's going to be games where they struggle, of course, but the starters I thought looked really good, especially early on. Broughton and Collins. I think Broughton and Collins have the chance to be one of the 2 or 3 best pairings in the entire SEC. I think when it's all said and done, and then the depth behind them is good. But there's going to be times that the depth lacks playmaking because they're not athletes so much as they are space eaters. But they're going to be allowed. They're going to allow you to get the most out of Alfred Collins and Vernon Broughton because you're going to be able to rest them.
Next week is going to be a totally different game, totally different test. And if they don't pass it with flying colors on the D line, that does not mean that you're going to see the D line get wrecked all year in the SEC, because Michigan is really just a different animal. Right. Even they're more physical and smash mouth than maybe 100% of the SEC, and certainly at least 70, 80% of it. So
and they create more run gaps too. So you're thinking more as a run defender. You're thinking more than you normally have to.
That is absolutely true.
What is so Eric? What other game are you watching? That's what the people in the.
I'm trying to find this damn A&M game. What channel is it on? Is it NBC? Right? Because it's Notre Dame.
Well, it's going to be. I believe it's an ABC ESPN product. Given the fact that they did game day there, I'm thinking that's probably where it's going to hop on.
Yeah,
I'm going to swap over to Homer here for a second while I do some computer.
Eric, it is on ESPN.
ESPN.
Oh, ESPN. Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Well, I'll
you see Paul sent us that Davis Warren looked like he was getting snaps for Michigan.
Oh, really? This is kind of what I've been suspecting.
Yeah, he's the better quarterback from the spring game. His progression was a lot better in my eyes. But Orji, I think, with unproven wide receiver room, man, maybe you just want to make Orji do some cool stuff in the run game.
He's not a quarterback. Like I was writing about him the other day. I was like, he's a striker. He's not a midfielder.
Yeah.
You love for him to have the ball in his hands, but you don't want him to make a decision about who gets the ball.
Yeah.
Because his mind is like, I shot the ball.
In the spring game, he was more 1, 2, 3, but Orji's also super special. It's just how they want to play offense, and their wide receivers don't look to be that dynamic. So do cool stuff with Orji and go, 19 personnel and just run everything.
I'm sure they will do some of that.
Yeah. Did you let's see here. See if I can get these stats pulled up so y'all can see them a little bit better. Ooh. Okay.
You can pull up some of these comments. They're pretty great.
Yeah. Y'all pull them up. When I'm looking at these stats, we can see. Eric, pull them up if you see any good ones.
This Josh Dutton one.
Josh Dutton. Where's he at?
It's like the first starred one you guys have.
Oh, so it's way back.
He's making a reference to Jay Norvell claimed that Kansas State offered 600. Not this one. You see, Norvell had said that Kansas State offered $600,000 for their quarterback.
Yeah, there's no way.
Josh is also suspicious of the veracity of that one.
I like that quarterback.
It's kind of like a trailerism. Trailer's always talking about they offered my guy $300 million and he decided to stick.
I think we're just good, man, because I like that quarterback from watching him last year. I mean, he's got a good arm. He's good all that. So it's like I think we're just good at football.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree.
He wasn't awful.
Yeah, what do you think, Charlie? You faced him.
Yeah, facing him, man, that guy's tough as nails, and he'll stand in the pocket and make throws. But I think Rich is good. He didn't have any windows. I think he lost his confidence so early that he kind of conceded. Versus so in the Mountain West Conference, he'll do good, man. But Texas is just really good.
They started to do that stuff from Wyoming last year, where they were hitting the quick outs to the sidelines. I was like, oh, they learned the trick. They're just going to do that up and down the field. They did it like twice and then gave up on it.
Yeah, something that Ann said earlier in a previous. On live, he said, teams are coming in with a different game plan because they saw somebody else do it. Won't even kind of stick to their own game plan. I thought Colorado State did a little bit of that. Like, when are you going to start running the ball? When do you start throwing perimeter screens so much? That's not – you don't see that in the air raid much. So I was really confused, but I think we just got them out of the game plan so early.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't do anything. But even the stuff they're good at with Horton, like, they didn't even go to that, No. So I just thought we had a great performance in the secondary, man.
I agree.
And they got it out so quick. I mean, us having no sacks, I saw somebody mention that. That was interesting, no sacks, but I thought they got it out so quick. Like, you weren't seeing them hit the go balls or the post. I mean, when were you planning to sack them, Maybe on some of those, like, 3rd and 15s, but.
Yeah.
What would have been the value of sacks? Holding them to 40 yards passing instead of 59?
Right. So it's like, I mean, I like the concrete sacks idea, but yeah, it's like show me the times where we missed a sack. So it's like, so that's kind of the interesting.
Got to get more pressure, man. Could have held them below 30 yards passing.
Yeah.
You got to give the people what they want.
What do you say, Ian?
You got to give the people what they want. What the people want is Moore and Simmons burying the quarterback.
That's true.
And then doing a sack dance.
Let's get some love to the linebackers, man. That hit
Binda, man.
Binda had the tackle for loss that Anthony Hill had on the first series.
Yeah, man.
The linebackers, Leonga Lafau played very well coming in.
Yeah.
Number 18. Michael Taft, of course, got credit for one of Lafau's tackles, which I thought was funny. The linebackers played really well.
Eric, did you see the Blackwell hit cleanly where he made a stop on 3rd and 1 and it looked like he forced a fumble and they didn't review it? Did y'all get a good look at that?
I didn't see the fumble. I saw the tackle. I didn't see the ball came out.
Yeah, it did look like he did fumble, and we recovered it right on the sidelines. But yeah, they just kept going with it.
Gillette is 40, right? He had a big tackle in the 4th quarter as well. So the linebackers, we feel like Choate did a good job coaching them up. Seems like Nansen's doing the same.
Yeah.
Those guys look like maniacs. And Anthony Hill, one of our longtime readers, I Dig Horn, says that guy's going to get drafted early in the 1st round. And I think he can be that sort of guy that breaks NFL draft convention when it comes to positional value. They don't really draft linebackers high anymore. But you can compare him to like Bijan Robinson, where Bijan was so special, he broke convention. Anthony Hill is probably going to sneak himself into the top 20 picks.
Yeah, and I thought we covered, the thing we talked about all week, like what if they run the drags? What if they run the mesh? It seems like we covered that well too. Yeah. So I thought, and that's a big linebacker play. So I thought that was awesome. David Binda had somewhere that play where he shot through the line and just completely smacked the running back. That was incredible.
The lineman got his hand on him, and it didn't matter. He didn't get there quick enough, and I think he actually pushed Binda into the guy and created more force. Even my wife, that got a reaction. That hit got a reaction out of my wife.
Yeah,
that was awesome hit. Awesome play.
Oh man, I don't know. I'm trying to see anymore. Was it Roberson that got the pick at the very end?
Wardell,
that was
Wardell,
Matt.
yeah, Wardell. That was a sick interception.
Both interceptions showed really good ball skills, ball tracking skills.
Yes.
Barron
caught it like a wide receiver.
He did.
Well, that's going to show up on NFL film because that was, a lot of guys wouldn't even been in the vicinity of that. He was just using his eyes. I think that his safety training and star training really benefited him there. And he picked up. He's like, I've got nothing to do. Like my dad always said, if you got nothing to do, pick up a broom. He picked up a broom and went and found some work, and there it was.
Yeah, you watch the replay. He's paying attention to the quarterback. He's not getting sucked into the backfield at all, and then he's immediately identifying the concept and going. He's just a smart player, man. And I was worried about his deep speed. I didn't have to be worried about it there.
No. And then we talked a little bit about that, homie, just in watching some film review. Like guys just making plays. Like, hey, you have nothing in front of you. Just keep working, get back in the center field, man. To get back there where he came from, I thought it was excellent, man.
Yeah. Oh, I thought the punting was pretty good. Y'all ready to get to I thought we had a good one where he pinned him in the 10 within the 10. That's been a question.
Yeah.
So I thought that was good. I didn't like Bolden making that sketchy return attempt at the very end where we dove on it.
He had a couple iffy. He had like 3 iffy ones, and that last one they made him pay. Yeah. Then the one he got loose though, when he got loose, he went to the return to like the 20 or something. So
yeah.
I've got a theory that they're saving some of his stuff on offense for next week. That they kind of put him in a shoebox for this week, hiding him from Michigan, and I think they're going to break out some looks with him next week.
Dangerous, man.
It's a good theory.
How do y'all feel about game 1? I mean, y'all's memory is way sharper when we were good. I was in 7th grade when Vince won it. So what did it feel like early season when Texas was good? Was it this type of performances? This type of – is that how it felt?
Yes.
Yeah.
Total domination. Didn't even have to run anything complicated. And then you get to see Mac's stars of tomorrow on display at the end of the game.
Yeah, they checked every box like Ian said when they came on. I wrote an article earlier like what I wanted to see. I saw everything and more. I saw some things I didn't know I wanted to see. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was. Overall, our defensive backs and linebackers played outstanding. Agree.
Yes. And communication between those guys were great too. I mean,
that's what we hope to see, right? With the increase in IQ back there, there's an increase in athleticism.
Yes, thank God.
It looked like an entirely different unit. It looked like there's a lot of NFL guys back there. There's at least 3 starting right now, right? Makuba, Derek Williams, future NFL player. I'm telling you, Tapp would be an NFL player if he could put on 10 more pounds. Of course, today, Barron, Manny Muhammad. Muhammad had a nice little quiet day, which you want from your corners. Gavin Holmes, he had that pass breakup. There was a couple where he was playing a little. He was playing off a little bit. Might have given up one easy completion, but he had a great pass breakup where he was definitely trading hands with the receiver.
Yeah,
really encouraging day.
He was able to sheath his sword.
Armani Winfield at that.
Yeah, Armani had that one catch on the sideline, and that was about it, right?
Yeah. That
was tough. All right, we got one from Mike. Hey, Mike's actually paying. He's not just typing it in. Good stuff, Mike. Should Cole Hudson start? Eric.
Oh, man. So Hayden Conner is one of my favorite players on the team, like from a personality standpoint. And, known him I've known Hayden since he was probably in 9th grade. But I do think that Cole offers a little more punch in the run game. Hayden is a senior. He can't be getting beat inside, like we saw a couple times today. That's a huge no-no. I'd like to see him fire off harder instead of accepting the defender and trying to wall him off, get more of a push. I'm not big on second guessing the coaches unless there's just like a long history of shenanigans. Definitely saw that with Orlando back in the day, Todd Orlando and some other coaches, but got to defer to them. But it is a little curious to me that Cole Hudson is not a starter on this team.
Yeah. And then, of course, Arch Manning, guys, what do we think?
Man.
Mid.
I thought he looked awesome. It looked like he was in command.
Are you talking about Arch Manning? I'm gonna grab another beer if we're talking about Arch.
Yeah.
Look, it's just the play he made in the end zone, the little option late pass. Hey, I got up out of my seat, y'all. I was like, man, I ain't been able to move that fast in a long time, y'all. Just like that did it for me.
Yeah, to open up with that Jonte play and then that touchdown, that awareness to scramble and then know your receiver's there. I'm like,
late pitch. Oh man.
He had a bunch of RPOs that he converted on like third down.
Yeah.
Where Colorado State was like, hopefully they don't throw the ball here on 3rd and 3. We're just going to sell out. And he nailed those. The first play may have been his best, right? Other than the
one to
other than just the improv of the touchdown.
Yeah.
For having that over the top release, it's so fast. It is so fast. Normally the quick guys are like that. It is over the top. Oh man, I love watching him play. And those improv skills we talked about. Part of the reason that we've been so high on him going back to when he was a sophomore in high school is he's got that sort of improv that his grandfather had. At the same time, he's got his uncle's pocket passing. He can make all the statue throws in the world that you want to make. But then he has that escapability. And on
prototypical build, good athlete. I'm telling you, he ran faster than some safeties that they had last year at top end on the flying 20s. 20 to 30 was faster than some of the safeties Texas had. He can run. And then on top of it all, well, he's also a great leader. And he's very tough. People don't understand how tough he is. I think it's those braided belts and those polo shirts that don't think he's that tough, but he's a tough kid. Yeah, he's and man, he can throw those bullets. Whenever like on the in breaking stuff, man, like he can that tight window, he throws it fast. He's gonna be an awesome player, man.
And he will be.
He's gonna be a first round pick for sure. Yes, he is. And then, what do we think of Quinn? What do we think of his performance overall?
I thought Quinn was solid and controlling the offense, honestly. Doing what he needed to do was very efficient. Like I said, tips and overthrows get to every quarterback. So maybe he was looking to go score there. Could have took the check down the first down, but I thought he had a very solid.
I was just doing too much. I'm not really that mad at him.
I think you see the growth, right? He's still looking. He's going through his reads. His progression is very fine, on each play. So I thought he commanded the offense, did what he needed to do for the first game. I thought he had a solid first game.
He did have that no-look pass touchdown that was maybe needless, but also really smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like what I saw from Quinn. That one interception, I think he was just kind of conflicted in what he wanted to do, trying to make a play.
Yeah.
It looked like he was past the line of scrimmage. He was just trying to make something happen. It was unfortunate. Ball got tipped. But I don't think I've seen a better passer in the intermediate game. It's kind of like when he sets and has just enough time, you can almost bank it's going to be completed.
I would say even in the pro game right now, like his intermediate passing is like pro ready. It's like he's automatic when he's set up. Yeah, it's like even when I watch on Sundays, I don't see quarterbacks that consistently that good in the intermediate game.
He needs to go to like Shanahan or McVay.
Yeah,
he would totally make hay in one of those outside zone offenses where he could kind of run around and throw those crossers all day. Yeah. He hit how many did he hit today? Like 4 or 5 in stride.
Yeah.
I
would happily take him on the Niners. Absolutely, in a heartbeat, I would take Quinn on the Niners.
Man.
Yeah.
And the throw in the end zone, where he threw to a spot to Golden, man. You didn't even see. He just threw it to a spot. It's like throwing into the net in the corner of the end zone, and like they do in practice, man. You couldn't even see. He just threw it to a spot, and Golden got there. I thought that was an excellent throw.
Yeah, the TV angle showed that he was open as far as having separation from the receiver, but the angle didn't seem like it was there.
Right.
And he just snuck the ball in there.
So
we had a source, mention recently said in the last 10 days, Ewers has made throws that the best defensive back in the NFL wouldn't have been able to cover. I think that's a good example of it. You could add anybody there, and the ball just found its way home.
Yeah, as soon as he threw that, I was like, that's incomplete. And it was perfect.
Y'all are talking about the one where it was like an RPO, and they had a run, and then they had like a rub with Golden going out, right?
Yeah.
And he threw it like over his shoulder, but going directly to the sideline, right?
Yeah.
That was
and it didn't make sense. It visually did not make sense how he completed it.
I mean, his touch.
Yeah.
For all that, like coming in, you thought he'd come in and be like spraying lasers all over the place. That's not his game. Where he's unbelievable is just laying the ball in.
It's like he's like the floater shots in the NBA. Like that's where he really shines. Let's see if let's check
more
out
Greg Maddux than Randy Johnson.
Yeah. Painting the corners.
So yeah,
Ian, what's your prediction on this Aggie game?
I think Notre Dame. Is it started yet?
It's about to start. About 15 minutes, I think.
Okay.
I think Notre Dame, but I don't feel super strong. Or no, I think A&M. What did I just say?
No,
I think A&M.
You just proved what you said, that you don't feel super strong. you pick both teams.
I'm afraid that Aggie D line is going to eat up Notre Dame's freshmen on the offensive line.
Yeah, the tackle.
Yeah.
And that's just going to be too big of a thing for anything else to overcome. But
Notre Dame's, man, like people are sleeping on Notre Dame's defense. They got a defense too, man. Like they got pros. They should be interesting. That's going to be the matchup for me is Notre Dame D versus.
The few times I've seen Leonard, he's been really poised. And going into that environment, they're lucky to have such a seasoned quarterback.
Yeah. I wonder Wigman too with Colin Klein, because Colin Klein likes to run quarterbacks. So I don't want to run Wigman. So how do you run a Colin Klein offense when you don't want to run Wigman? So it's
there's some talk that Kleiman that was kind of a edict from Kleiman to make sure that he ran the quarterback more. There's evidence that he didn't run it all that much. The 2 years ago when they made that run with Will Howard, I don't think he ran it all that much. And then last year they ran it quite a bit. But we'll see. It would be dereliction of duty to run Wigman a whole lot, especially early in the season.
Yeah,
I would run him. They got two backups.
I'm sure you would, Ian.
If he gets hurt, he gets hurt.
Yeah, I know you. Yeah, I know you agree with that strategy.
They're all just chess pieces to Ian. Well, Ian, you're also a Texas guy, so of course you're going to run the opposing.
Yeah, Ian would love you to run him.
I wouldn't do it a ton, but I would do it enough. I would do it, 48 times a game. So then you can just run, like read plays, even if you don't read it. And then you just mix it in every now and then so they can't overplay so they have to respect it.
I thought we did pretty good on third down too. That was a big problem last year. Our average distance to go right here is 5.4, which was way better. We were in like the 7-yard club last season. Try to zoom it in for you. It's just kind of weird how it wants to.
Well, that's a handy stat. I didn't realize they had that on there.
Yeah, distance to go. Yeah, and we were in the 7s, and so we had a lot of problems with that. But we completed about 50%. Still not great with our third and long, but we only had 2 of those. We were like third and long 6 times a game last year. So this is just important, man, because this is really what matters in winning, is our success rate and all that, and that's improved. So that was what the governor on Texas was. If he dies, he dies. Yvonne Boyd.
Yeah. Ivan Boyd, the nice Testament Russian.
Yeah.
Ivan Drago.
You guys are not going to believe this, but I have a reface GIF of my face and Drago's face actually saying that line.
Yeah.
Does it have Ivan in there like that instead of Ian? That's amazing.
No, it's the only flaw.
The Ivan is a nice touch. I like it.
I wonder if I still have that.
All right, fellas, let's get a quick ad read in from the one and only Gabe Winslow.
One of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make in your life is the purchase of a home or the refinance of an existing home. And you need the right person on your team. That person is Gabe Winslow. He is a lifetime Longhorn, a huge supporter of Inside Texas and Longhorn Nation. And you can reach him at 832-557-1095. Why Gabe? Over 20 years in the industry. He has a law degree. He's fantastic at what he does. And he loves creating solutions for his clients. Give him a call. If he's not your first call, make darn sure he's your last call. And you'll find out why so many Longhorns have raved about the service that he provides.
And that was jarring. I was expecting LC on the ad read, and I got Paul.
Yeah. Yep. We needed we'll get the LC creepy version ready. That's the Paul original. But man, normally I have something that I really want to complain about on the post games. I don't really even know what to do with myself, man. I'm like, yeah, that all went pretty well.
Well, maybe we should bring UT Parking on. Let's bring UT Parking on. He always finds something to complain about. So he's doing right now. UT Parking is doing the appeal to authority fallacy. Of course, Sark is going to say some stuff, but you have to tell me which DTs need to play better. When their starters are in, they played very well. it's a minor concern. They had to get yards somehow. They played fine. It was first game. They'll be good.
One thing I can complain about one thing. Defensive run stuff rate. So are we hitting running backs in the backfield? We didn't do that very well. That's about the only thing we didn't do well statistically on. But that is interesting. Are we going to be able, with even Broughton and Collins, right, who traditionally are kind of pass rushy, are those guys going to be able to be like Crazy Sweat, take on 2 blocks, shed, and then smack somebody 2 yards in the backfield? I don't know personnel-wise, but if I wanted to get picky, I guess that's the only thing that is not a bright green stat here.
I'll be interested to see a snap allocation. Like how many times were Collins and Broughton out there together? Because I saw them all mixed and matched. There was times it was Norton and Broughton, Lole and Collins. I don't want to nitpick too hard, man.
Yeah.
I'd like to at least see it. Like, what if it turns out that the linebackers were getting lost a little bit, I mean, I'd just like to see it before we make a too definitive.
It's easy. We saw it in 2021 where all the wrong people were blamed, it seemed like, on run defense. That defense had issues all over. They were blaming the safeties for run support when there had no help in front of them at all.
Yeah.
So you got to go back, watch the tape, and see where the actual breakdowns happen.
Yeah. Everything's good.
Solid.
All right, how are we feeling about Michigan next week?
Totally different defense. Got to run a whole different defense that week.
Yeah, because we're up against the air raid versus we're going to go against a heavy rushing attack.
I think the big thing with Michigan is if Texas can come out and throw the ball effectively early in the game and get points on the board, they can knock Michigan out of their ground and pound first to 20 kind of style that they want to play the game at. And then you basically want to do exactly what they did to Alabama last year, which is come out, spread it around, go up tempo, try to get points on the board and get them out of their comfort zone and get them out of their game plan. If they do that, I think Texas is a huge favorite. If they have a slow start and you get into where Michigan can kind of find their feet and start trading shots, then it's less certain.
I've got 2 thoughts on it. I don't know how Michigan's revamped secondary outside of their stud corner, and they've got a returning safety that I think is just kind of okay. I don't know how they're going to keep up with all the different skill weapons that Texas has, especially in that quick passing game. Even if their pass rush is something to worry about, the ball gets out really quick when Texas wants it to. I think it's just they're overmatched in the secondary with the Texas skill players. And then if you saw the depth chart today, they had DT, and nose tackle. We'll see that a lot. Collins, Broughton, and Bill Norton with Barron Sorrell out there. That's going to be tough for anybody to run on, especially with the linebacker play that we saw today. I really like what I saw today. It gave me more confidence going into next week. I can't wait to jump on that plane Friday afternoon. Can't get there quick enough.
Yeah, go ahead, Ian.
Do we know if Jaden Blue, did you guys touch on this in the beginning before I came on? Is he fine?
Yeah, he's good.
Fine. Yeah, he's fine.
That'd be the only thing that'd be like not so good.
No, I think we'll be fine. I think we'll get Michigan out in space. Like you said, I know what Will Johnson is, but I don't know what the other guys are. I mean, they pretty much lost their entire secondary to the draft, and I don't know if these guys that they have left can tackle in space. So a lot of RPOs and getting our guys in space versus their athletes. I think Texas has the better matchup in space versus Michigan. So we'll see. Lost the 2 linebackers. We're not running straight at them. We're not running straight at Grant and
that's my thing, man. Can we?
We're not going to do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, how's our run game going to be, man? Because that interior is freaky.
You're gonna pass it to run it. Trey, we didn't talk about Trey Wiseman much. I don't think that guy. He looks shot out of a cannon every time he gets the ball. And some people are like, what's the matter with the run game? Well, a guy can't look shot out of the cannon if he doesn't have a place to go. So if he looked shot out of a cannon, that means he did have some lanes to operate in. He looked good. But yeah, they're going to work the perimeter and they're going to work the passing game to set up the run. You'll see a more concerted running game next week, assuming that the passing game is doing its job.
And this is true. My friend Nash Talks Texas brought his own decibel reader. That's the most Nash thing ever, by the way. But he brought that. Right. he brought the decibel reader, and when Arch scored, it peaked at like 134 or something. Like he couldn't pick it up much louder than that. So yeah, that is true. And then Ian sent me something absolutely horrifying. That is his Wigman. That is his Wigman philosophy on running the quarterback. Well, running A&M's quarterback. Ian feels very strongly about running A&M.
We need one with Major Applewhite after David Ash. Yeah, that's awesome. It kind of looks like Mike Gundy.
It does. It does. It has some young Gundy in him.
I kind of see some Gundy in there.
Yeah. You made that quick too, Ian.
No, I had it. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you had it.
It already existed for some reason.
That's even weirder. That's funny. Yeah. What do we?
Can I say on Michigan? Y'all have a good point about the corner. I actually remember reading on MGO blog that it looks like they're trying to force it with one of their more talented young cornerbacks opposite Will Johnson.
Jair Hill.
I think that's right. I think that's the one where they're like, let's just play this guy and take some lumps because he's better. And that's a tough week too.
All right, you want some lumps? We can help you with that.
Yeah. I mean, they may not have a better choice, right? It may be that or somebody playing 10 yards off and hoping they make tackles. So
when they lost Rod Moore,
everybody remembers how talented Kendall Downs was last year.
Yeah, but they lost the safety Rod Moore, right? So like, if you're gonna, I mean, you want to test the Michigan secondary. Will Johnson, of course, is going to be first round, but if you can avoid the corner and the interior defensive line, which is kind of tricky, but we'll see, man. It's gonna be fun.
They'll have stuff schemed up like they had for Alabama 2 years ago, where everybody was worried about the Alabama defensive line wrecking the Texas offensive line. Remember, that was a huge concern. 0 sacks that day.
Yep.
They'll have things schemed up so where it's not just going to be straightforward those guys versus Texas.
Sark in week 2 has been excellent every time we've seen him, except for maybe the first year. What was week 2? Was it Arkansas first year?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so every other week 2 has been incredible. So this is for the Inside Texas Happy Hour Fund after we get another W next weekend.
Nice. I look forward to hopefully I feel confident, but we'll see. Hopefully we're buying drinks in Ann Arbor next week like we were in Tuscaloosa last year.
Ian, are you turning around and going right back to Michigan? Okay.
But no, I'm going to stick around. I mean, 11 years worth of relationships there, so I'm going to hang out for just a couple days.
Yeah. So who's all going? Eric's going to be there. You're going to go. Ian, Joe,
Will Gallagher, our photographer, will be there, of course.
Okay.
Andre the lawyer, if we're talking about people from YouTube.
Yeah. That's going to be cool, man. That's going to be an awesome game to be at.
I need him in the happy hour after the game.
Yeah.
So if anything goes down, this is my representation.
That's dope. All right, y'all. Any last parting thoughts?
No, I think that that game was almost authored by fan fiction. What you want to see, a couple miscues, of course, definitely things to clean up. As far as first games go, you couldn't ask for much more. So hopefully that portends for good things this season. I think it does. Cautiously optimistic for sure.
Good stuff. All right, fans. Thank you guys for watching and hook 'em.